Open-ended materials and developmental growth have 5 developmental categories: physically, socially, emotionally, cognitively, linguistically, and creatively. By stimulating the senses and motivating children to investigate and become active investigators, the students develop better control over their bodies. We can see this happening when they reach and grasp, hold and release, carry and drop, poke and pull, and squeeze and push. By fostering self-confidence and self-regulation as they successfully handle new challenges, and by creating stimulations that require sharing space and materials with others. We can see this developing when children take turns shaking a rain stick and listening to the sound. Developmental growth can be seen by comparing, categorizing, and ordering a wide variety of materials, and by observing cause and effect. We see this happening when children compare the handprints they've made in Play-Doh, or when they drop a bead down a tube and watch it come out the other end. We can see developmental linguistically by developing a vocabulary of descriptive art words. We hear this happening when they use words for colors, shapes, textures, and other sensory qualities. We can see developmental growth by engaging curiosity and risk-taking while developing sustained attention and problem-solving. Open-ended arts materials should be available for children to choose from. These should be placed at the child's height and attractively displayed in uniform containers. Containers should be low-sided and wide enough so that children can easily see what's inside from their vantage point. Although supplies should be ample, you should avoid putting out huge amounts of materials. When children see bountiful quantities of materials, they are more likely to use the materials wastefully. It is better to display less of something and then go ahead and refill when necessary. Label the storage containers so that children can match each item to its place. Include a picture of the word of the object on the container. Also, inviting older children to help make the labels establishes ownership and familiarizes them with the storage system.
When giving art materials to infants, it is important to give them materials that they can explore using their sense of touch. Cardboard tubes, small boxes, pots and pans, or natural materials, such as large shells, leaves, or stones, are great for children to play with. If there are objects that are too small and would be considered choking hazards, place them in clear plastic bottles so that the infant can shake and watch them. For toddlers, you should consider giving them a combination of familiar objects. There should also be a little more structure and more difficulty to the task given to toddlers, but they should still be offered choices of what they would like to do.
Offer primary-age children with materials that will allow them to be creative when learning about certain units. You can incorporate the arts into a unit about the seasons. Provide students with paper, yarn, straw, sand, glitter, cardboard, or any other items. This way they can really show you what the seasons are. It is also important to provide paints and sensory materials so they can be creative on their own. Allow them to create and then clean up on their own. When creating offerings for preschoolers and kindergartners, use real-life objects in dramatic play. For example, use real fruits in the kitchen area. You can later use these fruits to teach about nutrition and healthy snacks. It is also important to use real-life paintbrushes and instruments to let young children feel like they are real-life artists. Lastly, it is important to provide them with clay, paint, and other materials so they can explore their imagination.